What's going on, listeners? It's your boy Nick Mathias here. I'm with the gang, Dom and Dorian. Say what's up to everybody.
What up, what up, what up?
What's up, guys?
Super excited to be back with you guys. If you didn't catch our show, it aired on YouTube last Sunday night, so go ahead and check that. We'll have the link down here somewhere. And, we are going to start off this second show by answering some of the comments that we got and some of the questions and comments that we had for me, Dorian, and Dom. And Dom actually has those yaks loaded up, so if you can go ahead and play those, we'll just get right into it.
Yeah, the first one's not a yak, actually. It's actually my wife reacting to Dorian, because you have to know that in my family, we like a basketball family. I am a sports inventor of another sport, pure instinct, but we used to play basketball. She used to play college. And when I told her about the goaltending rule that Dorian wants to take out, because we were watching the NCAA game yesterday or the day before, and I was talking to her, I was like, yeah, Dorian wants to take that off because on the layup, somebody threw the ball up, and it was kind of a controversial block, and she was like, yeah, she wants to take that off. And she was like, okay, it's cool on layups though, it's cool on every fancy shot, but the one thing though, that on a pick and roll, that's what she felt like. Now on a pick and roll, the people are gonna go back, and they're gonna leave the shooter open and just try to just block it like a kind of a goalkeeper in soccer, or I don't know, handball. So she was mostly feeling on long shot, it would probably be kind of ruining the game, because the people are gonna do some crazy stuff. It might have some injuries too, because trying to jump and just block everything, and just people are just blocking out at weird place. So what you have to say about that? Because I think it's a good rule for the layups, but for the 3-point shots or the long shot, it might be kind of sketchy to have all the big men that just clogging out the lane.
To go in depth on it a little bit, I would say I like the layup rule, and I would also say that I like it for when the ball hits the backboard, because you know how whenever they're going up for the layups, and if it hits the glass first, then you can't block it off the glass. Maybe then you could if it hits the backboard, you can hit it off the glass and it won't be goaltending. But I agree as far as the shots, because if you ever watch a NBA game, or if you go to an NBA game, you'll see a lot of the times after a whistle, a foul's being called, then they'll take a shot, you know what I'm saying? And then a center or somebody will go and snatch it out the air. That's what it would look like on shots. So I understand that, and I could agree with being on layups or possibly floaters, maybe a certain feet away from the rim.
Yeah, I would kind of like that. If let's say you do a layup from inside of the key, because there's a line, actually there's paint on the ground. You could actually, every shot that's from inside of the key, you can do whatever you want. And then from the shot outside of that, maybe that's the paint won't be a lot of people in the paint just to try to change the game or the aspect of the game. So Nick, did you have time to think about that before we go to our first yak?
I mean, I understand where you're coming from, Dorian, because a lot of times you'll see, right when the timeout comes or right after something's getting replayed, you'll see the guy, try and go ahead and put up a little floater, and the big will just go up and snatch it. And it almost looks freakish, if you will. But I like the adaptation of that, only being able to do that on shots in the paint, because I feel it does look a little abnormal on those longer shots where you just see the ball clearly coming down over the cylinder, and the big will just either, smack it out of there. Some bigs just catch it straight in the air. That looks pretty crazy to me too. So I like being able to adapt the rule. Like you said, maybe only apply that to shots in the paint or shots right there, nothing outside of the perimeter. So I think it still has a chance to pass the NBA commission or the change the rules commission anyway. I think it has the authority to go ahead and do that.
All right, let me see if my technology works today. All right, let me start that.
And in Nick's point, he was talking about a rule that he would change or he did not like in basketball, and it was the shooter trying to draw the offensive foul. Well, in the Wizards-Raptors game last night, what happened was the defender, who was a member of the Wizard squad, tried to draw the foul along the similar principles. And, you know, he didn't get the call, and then the team then lost on that same shot. And to me, it was just like a kind of a quick moment where it's like offensive player that was trying to draw the foul. It was the defensive player, and kind of was just that double standard, because they would call that 95% of the time on the offensive player, but the defensive player got no love on that.
So, Nick, what's up now? Like, we got our boy, like, Stefan actually calling up like this double standard. So what she has to say?
No, I completely agree. You know, I don't know if what I'm about to say is going to contrast what Steph has said, but I think that this mentality of jumping into that foul, or in my opinion, you know, the league has definitely changed even over the past 10 years. You know, I'm not old enough to say that I was sitting here watching people hack a Shaq and not in the 90s and completely just UFC some dudes in the 90s and the 80s. I wasn't there for that. But even, you know, watching the early 2010s games and things like that, you had to earn those fouls. A lot of these, what people consider, you know, nowadays, like, oh, that's a playoff foul. That was regular in the 82 game season. And going from that, you know, now we've just gotten, and when I say we, I mean the league has gotten pretty tic-tacky, pretty soft. If you look at, you know, all the fouls that are called now, they're very tic-tac, very touch fouls. Even the technical fouls, you know, I just remember the historic dunk from LeBron James on Jason Terry in the Garden. Like, that was rightfully so deserving of a tech, because he stared at that man's soul like he really just took it. But you got guys now getting technical fouls for screaming and one after they make a good bucket. And to go back to what we were talking about, this drawing fouls offensively, and now that mindset of drawing fouls as a defender with the shooter coming down at you, I just think that it's the whole ideology of a game now. You can flop or act as if you really got fouled hard, when in reality somebody just brushed past you and you will be rewarded. Like Steph was saying, we see that, you know, a lot of times with the offense, they won't hesitate to call the foul despite not going back to replay and looking at who actually initiated contact. I don't blame the defender in this case. If the league is getting softer with their fouls on both ends of the court, then I might try and press that situation, put it in the hands of the official to make that call. Now, to reference the game that he was talking about, he's referring to the Gary Trent shot that he made for the Raptors the other night. I don't know if I'm going to attempt to flop on that foul as the defender in that situation, but at, you know, earlier times in the game, the second quarter, third quarter, first quarter, you know, maybe even early in the fourth, I'm willing to take that bet, because in the mind of the defender, the only way I can think of it as, I'm gonna get the foul called on me if I don't do something to make it appear, you know, the complete other way. So it's either one, I get the foul called on me and he hits the shot. Two, I have a possibility, the potential to have the foul drawn on the offensive player and me go ahead and get that ball back. Or three, I just get the foul that I was probably going to get anyway. So as a defender, I can't fault. I forget who it was. I know it was one of the Wizards guards. I can't fault him for trying to make that play in that position, but I would have to say it has to be situational. You can't be taking those type of risks, you know, game on the line, crunch time situations. That's definitely something you do to get that offensive player a tic-tac foul earlier in the first half or something like that.
So I got three things. Okay, I got three things. First, I have like full disclosure on defense as a basketball player. I'm a flopper. Okay, I'm the guy who I'm the kind of guy who's like, and my wife's just like, she always bugging with me like that. I actually flop in the house, like when she like goes like around the corner, like on the counters, and I just like, she bumps me a bit, like, oh, like I'm taking the charge like everywhere in my house. So that's one thing, because when I was a kind of a big guard too, like, so you have to sell it a bit to the official, because they're never gonna call the shot. So the guy like LeBron and stuff like that, I know he's a big flopper like LeBron, but if he doesn't like do the head stuff, like, he's never gonna get a call. Okay, so full disclosure, I'm a bit of a flopper. Okay, so the second thing I have to say about that segment too is that we're talking about a Wizard game. Okay, so the only way we can talk about the Wizard game is because the guy Stefan must be from the Washington D.C. like area, because nobody's watching those games. And so that I just want to say that, like, I was like, dude, like, nobody's watching the DC right now. Like, they're not into playoff action too. So okay. And third, Dorian, I want to hear you on that. Let's see if we can get like a soccer rule inside of that. Okay, so let's say you have like a 10-game window. Okay, and if you do that kind of move, you have a yellow card. Okay, and that yellow card follows you like through like 10 games. Okay, so if you're a flopper like you, Dorian, or me, let's say, okay, and you get caught, you get a yellow card. Okay, and after 10 games, your yellow card is kind of like going away. But if you get another yellow card in those 10 games, you out of here. Okay, you just like in soccer, like in a tournament in soccer, you out of here. Like, what do you think about that? Like, because like that will be like, you just like you said, Nick, you can try it, but if you get caught like 2 times, you out because you're ruining the game.
Well, if that was the case, there would be quite a few players that wouldn't be playing. We would have a lot less superstars and stuff like that. My personal opinion. I think that something needs to be done on a serious note, though. So either they need to start getting they need to start getting offensive foul calls for the flopping and for the leaning into deal. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me because they have the rule to where whenever they shoot their shot and they kick their leg out and trip the defender, that's an offensive foul. So if they can't do that, then why can they like lean up like a whole foot to get an offensive foul? That doesn't work to me. So I would think that something needs to happen. So if it's a yellow card or whatever, something needs to happen though for the people that do flop a lot, because it's hard to watch. It's why I don't watch certain players in the league now.
All right, let's move on to our next react by actually Yak co-founder Hunter.
Yo, Dom, saw your tweet. Try to keep it under 15 seconds, but one thing I think you're missing, or I think that soccer is missing, is that there's no nuance to the game. Like you said, Messi scoring from outside the 18, same amount of points as scoring on the inside of the 18, and the entire game of basketball was changed when people started scoring from super far away, and that allows for a dynamic game. You can have the up close with the dunks and the layups, but then you can also have the long game, and I think that's a nuance that's missing in soccer,
That not only what happened.
Okay, so I'm gonna react to that. I like that take. Okay, it's kind of strange sometimes, like when you bring like 2 sports like I did and stuff like that. Like, it's kind of my bad on that, but like for me, like, soccer needs to do something else too. Okay, soccer do need like maybe to act on some of the stuff to make it more interesting sometimes. Okay, I think like, but it is what it is. Like the soccer, like, you're not gonna score. You're not gonna have a lot of scores. Okay, so that's kind of one thing. I just feel that yes, it's true that the basketball, that 3-point shot brought some nuance to the game, but I also think actually that now we don't have that nuance. That's my problem. Okay, because we brought like a rule for something that we want to see more. Let's say more outside shot and less of just inside. But now when I watch a game, it's only outside. So I'm kind of confused now. Like I do understand like that we need, like, it's a beautiful game that we have like a nuance to the game and different way to scores. But I just feel right now there's only one way. Like, you go like on a fast break, and I know, Dorian, you play high school like basketball, like a 3-on-1, like back in the days, that's like automatic like layups, but now it's like automatic 3-point shots. So, and I'm not sure that's a great way. Like, I understand why they do it, okay, because like I said, I think that the 3-point shot should be worth like 2.25, but now that it's worth like 3 points, I understand why you try to shoot that 3-on-1. But it's a fast break, so at some point, like, I think we need to address that, and I think the nuance that we try to have in basketball, it's reversed now. So I don't know how you feel about that, Dorian and Nick. Are you a 3-point shooter, Dorian? Are you like only 3-point, or you used to go inside?
I mean, technically, I would probably consider myself a shooter, yeah. But I didn't just never go in the paint.
And Nick, what do you think about it? Do you feel that there's not enough nuance, or am I tripping right now when I watch basketball?
I just think, no, I would definitely agree with you in terms of the shot selection in the league has definitely varied much higher in recent years. I'd even be willing to say within the past 5 years, like the amount of three-pointers taken across the league has probably doubled, just because of elite shooters that you've seen in this generation not only be able to hit those shots, but also instill the confidence in their coaches to allow them to have that ability to go ahead and take 10 to 15 three-point attempts a game. I think James Harden took 20-something three-point attempts in a playoff series just for one game of that series last year. So definitely the game is changing, but also I see facets of the game that I love. I am not a great shooter. For a lot of my life growing up, I mean, you guys know I was a football player, but just picking up the game of basketball, definitely a low post guy, which is hard to do when you're only 5'8", but I like it down there. I like hustling for rebounds. I like fighting with the Giants and whatnot, those type of things. But I still
5'8"?
see that 5'8", 5'9", yeah, on a good day. Maybe 5'10" with some Air Force Ones on.
In the post?
In the post, yeah. My post work it's all right. I got a lot of hustle down there, so we don't want to talk about that here. But yeah, to talk about it, I still think that in today's game, you do still see the beauty of that mid-range. Like, there's some mid-range assassins killing it in the game right now. DeMar DeRozan in San Antonio doesn't get a lot of love. I believe he only takes about three-point attempts a game on average, and that's not to say because he can't do it, but his game is mid-range. Chris Paul, a master at the mid-range. He kills when he gets that switch with the big. It's beautiful. So I just think that there are a few, in the words of Kanye, they don't make them like this anymore. There's a couple left of those guys still around to enjoy. So I haven't, completely gotten totally bored of the game yet with all the three-point shots. You can clearly, anybody who watches more than one basketball game can see that, that is definitely where the game is at, if not still trending towards. But I think that there's a few hidden gems that use that mid-range beautifully to get me through it.
Before we move to the next segment, Nick, I just want to thank our two and my wife actually will react to our segment. So that's pretty cool for you guys to do. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, definitely appreciate that. You guys keep going, keep leaving us comments and leaving us questions or whatnot. We'll definitely address them. We love the back and forth and the engagement with everybody who's listening and giving us a chance to, share our thoughts and hopefully change the rules. So, guys, here, like we do at Change the Rules, we're constantly challenging the status quo to push sports culture upward. And to go ahead and start off the first segment to, go ahead and propel our sports culture, I want to discuss, women equality in the WNBA and its counterpart in the NBA still. I don't know if you guys have been able to, brush up or catch up on the forward Draymond Green of the Warriors, his comments this past week regarding the pay gap in terms of the WNBA and the NBA. And, I'm just paraphrasing here just for the sake of the podcast. But essentially, he said that the continuous pleas of WNBA players without action, if you will, or without, substantial change in how they operate in the business sense, pretty much just turns into complaints. So instead of constantly hearing these pleas fall on deaf ears and constantly hearing what he quoted as complaining, he would like to see these WNBA greats make a change in terms of how they make their skills accessible to the league, is essentially what I got from it. Dom, I know you, I've been sending you stuff about it, articles, full interview links, all that good stuff. Correct me if I'm misparaphrasing what he's saying, basically, but from what I understand, he's basically saying there's not enough action that's going on and not enough drastic revolution in terms of how they handle themselves in the business aspect of that.
All right, like before Dorian go on that, like let me address this.
How
again,
you how you figure I was gonna go?
No, I say before you go, I go. I'm pissed with this. Okay, I'm really pissed with this. Like, it really got me like again, like and again and again, like to my bone. Like, there's one thing, like no disrespect to Draymond Green, like great game, like basketball wise stuff. Like, he still has a contract of like 100 million or something like that. 100 millions. Okay. And don't tell me right now that his contract is only dependent on him, like be a basketball player, and that's just the price for a basketball player. That's not true. He's part of an ecosystem, okay? And that ecosystem used to have Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and that's what's like kind of brought the ante for the salary to go up and up and up and up. And because he has those LeBron James in the league, and that they're driving revenue from like TV and stuff like that, he's able to have that ludicrous like contract for a guy who doesn't score like 30 points a game and stuff like that. Like, so you have to believe that there's an ecosystem. Okay, so when you understand there's an ecosystem, that's my second point. The women, we have to stop saying that they're in their own ecosystem. They're not. Okay, if you really want to have change in this like society, you cannot say, oh, as soon as you have your stuff, you say, oh, you do this and you do that and stuff like that. That's the wrong way to go, and that pissed me off. Okay, if we want to go into having real change, and I think that's real for everything in society. If it's like black, if it's women, okay, everything that we have. If it's only the minority that's gonna say, oh, let them do your thing. No, that's not the way to go. Okay, if we have to go into a mindset of being, we are all athletes, and that those athletes like Draymond Green say, you know what, like I'm gonna take my own money and put that to show. I'm gonna take my own voice and put that to show, like on everything. Not just saying to Diana Taurasi, oh, you have to be better. She's trying to be better. Like those girls, like they got massive handles, massive game, like when they play, and they have massive following. It's not about that. Like we saw that with soccer. Like the girls in soccer, they get like massive following. They don't get paid. That's ridiculous. That I just feeling that we have to stop to have kind of like that two ecosystem mentality. We all in the same boat right now. So yeah, that's my take. And I'll stop here for today. Dorian, what's your take on it?
Well, I just like agree with what you said. Like, it's just, I think the more that the two work together, then the better that it can be. You know, no finger pointing, but just trying to figure out how can I help from my point of view, because I know that I have this much power and this much pull. So how can I use that ability to actually help the women? That's really all I got for it.
Nick, do you have something to add to that?
Yeah, I just think that, I don't know, when I rewatched the interview and watched it a couple more times, I think that, and I watched interviews on reactions of WNBA players being asked about how they feel about this situation, and a lot of them pretty much just come back to the term of ignorance and really not understanding everything that maybe is provided for NBA players and is not for the WNBA players. And I just think that in terms of what he was trying to say, I don't think the entire idea of it was wrong, but I think about like certain sections of it when he says that there are these media conglomerates and these big companies that claim that they are in support of women and claim that they are doing this and that why isn't it these same companies that are giving a budget to market the stories of these women athletes? That way they are more relatable, or at least us as viewers can get a feel for them. We can understand their life story. That may incline us to wish to see how they do or see how they prosper in the WNBA. So I think that idea of it, that the people who market and the people that spend millions and millions of dollars on marketing the stories of NBA players and things like that, I think that logic can be applied to the WNBA. However, I don't think that he came about it in the right way whatsoever. To me, he kind of came about it in a confrontational sense, when really he should have came about it with an open mind and looking to learn about the situation, as opposed to thinking that he knew everything and trying to speak his 2 cents on that.
Yeah, for me, it's like saying like to a guy like in the 80s, like you're like, oh, you guys didn't know how to make money. Now we know how to make money. Like Charles Barkley, you didn't know how to make money like in the NBA. Magic Johnson, you didn't know. Like those guys, it's just like they're not in the same like time. So do you think like Magic would have made the same salary like now that he made like back in the days? That's I just think that it's the way it's marketing right now, like for the men, is just not right. We should have like the both, like let's say you do have like a Nike ad. Let's have a Nike ad always with LeBron James and also a woman, so like in the same ad. So like let's have like those players like in their contract with those big like publicity stuff, like to say, hey, every time I do an ad for you, you have to put a woman athlete because we have to make change. So like those athletes have the power to do that, and that's what I mean. Like I think this should be like more into like try to understand that women actually are part of the ecosystem, and that's something that I wish you would address more. And that's just Draymond, but like I say Draymond, but like, for me, it's all I see like on Twitter too. Like people feel that like they say, oh, it's women basketball. Like I hate that stuff. Like it's not women basketball; it's just basketball. So yeah.
Going forward with that, guys, continuing our conversation of equality and things like that. I had a question for the whole group actually, and pretty much I just want to ask you guys, like, I know Dom, you have a good one for this already, in terms of like the business side of the NBA and WNBA, but what is one change that you would institute on the business side of things to help minimize the equity gap between men and women's professional basketball?
All right, cool. So yeah, the one thing I think like in the contract, I just said like I think the men should have in their contract where like the sponsors and like big sponsors, Nike and stuff like that, they should have like a woman clause where they actually don't do ads without having like someone from the same sport like as them, so to promote them. So that's just like one clause. I think it wouldn't cost them money to do this. It would just like be like a good favor like to just the overall ecosystem. Other than this, I do think though that the contract in NBA right now are monstrous. Okay, and I feel and I talked to some women about that, and they were like, nah, we don't have to do this, but I think we should. Okay, I think that 5% of the contract in the NBA, when you sign a contract, should be given to what we call a WNBA fund. Okay, because I saw like the disparity like between the men and women. Like I saw like something like Danny Green, like a meme on internet where he has like 10 millions a year, and that's actually more than every like combined like players from a WNBA or something like that, something crazy. And you just see like Dorian, like maybe more than me, like the average salary for WNBA is like it's pretty low, like for when you compare it to men. And I just feel that the difference is so big. That's when you have to step up and say, hey, like let's give up like 5% of our salary. And why I think it's gonna be great, it could be great if you do that, is that WNBA could be more of a thing, like bigger and bigger and bigger. They could like stay home a bit more. Don't go to Europe and kind of burn out like all year long, because they play Europe and they play USA. Like most of the players, a lot of players do that, and I don't think it's great for their marketing like values to go like all around the world like this. You should like stay maybe in one country and try to market yourself in the off seasons. So, and after that, I think if there's more women actually involved and have bigger salary and more girls like getting to see the women play and stuff like that, it just turned out that everybody's going to be watching more the NBA too, because they're going to be just more fans for overall game. So you might have your 5% that you give up like for the NBA WNBA fund. it might be like coming back to you in 2 years because there's going to be more overall fans, more women involved, and that's always good. So that's my take on it.
Dorian, what about you?
That was good. I'm trying to think. From the business standpoint, I mean, like Dom said, though, I definitely agree with like cross promoting as far as like the brands and the companies and all of that stuff, because at the end of the day, that's not hurting the brand at all. Like, if anything, it's showing it's showing that they can they can branch out, and do something different and work with multiple people. I also think that since the season is like basically during the summer, maybe like with the teams that are in the same city as an NBA team, since that's the time of the playoffs, like some double headers, kind of how you do in high school and college sometimes, like some double headers like that, that'll bring some more fans, or like, people that want to be early to the NBA game anyway, then they can come and watch a WNBA game. Before that, they can already be in the city at the arena, blah, blah, blah. So then they could go see the WNBA game, and then they could immediately see like the NBA players warm up and all of that stuff as well.
I would love that. I think that's one of the things that I think that would be powerful, actually.
Yeah. Because, the main problem, well, what people like to say the main problem is like the fan base. And I think that an easy way, or not an easy way, but an easier way to get fans there is by, having something immediately following that, whether it's a NBA game, a concert, what you have it, right after the WNBA game.
That's smart. I like that.
I do agree.
Are we up for the Nick corner today? I see the time's running fast today. So are we up for the Nick corner? Because I want to go to
always ready. Always ready for the Nick corner. Always ready to give a shout out to people making a difference in the community. As you guys, if you watched the show, last week I shouted out linebacker Demario Davis from the New Orleans Saints for the contributions he's made to his community. This week, I actually found out about this foundation watching an NFL game. They had an ad during the game regarding this foundation, and it's called the Water Boys, and it's sponsored by the Chris Long Foundation. If you know Chris Long, a longtime NFL player, son of Hall of Famer Howie Long, I do believe, and he won a Super Bowl with the Eagles not too long ago, I believe in 2018, yeah, that sounds about right. And so his foundation, the Water Boys, what it does is they establish water wells and drinking water and clean running water to communities of need. And this foundation, it's a really great foundation. I am a fan of the player myself, so I have been following it for a little bit now. Basically, Chris Long, when he came into the league, he's pretty good. He played for a couple teams, played for the Patriots, and won the Super Bowl. He also went ahead and, like I said, played for the Eagles and won that Super Bowl. But on Nick's Corner, we like to highlight the athlete for the contributions made off the field. And with that, we are checking out his Waterboy Foundation. There's a lot of members across the NFL right now. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there was a NBA on TNT moment where the foundation kind of collabed with some NBA players as well. And Charles Barkley, one of the main staples of TNT, NBA on TNT, he actually sponsored an entire well himself. So it's always good to see guys contributing and chipping in. And for this week, Chris Long, you are a pure athlete, someone who takes their talents and their consideration for things that span outside the field, outside of the playing realm. And for that, sir, you deserve the recognition on Change the Sport today.
All right, that's great. I might send him a coffee mug, like just like this one, my new coffee mug, Pure Athlete to Chris Long. I'll tweet at him. I'll find a way. So now we're ready for a pure finish. Thanks a lot, man. Nick was I love it. I love your.
Dom has that clout. Dom has that clout.
So Dorian and Nick, do you think first? Okay, there's the combines in football that kind of like that we hear sometimes, and I don't know if they do that in WNBA, but anyway, like, do you feel that coach should look at those combines, like yes or no, like because like sometimes it's just stats, like watch the game. So what do you think, Dorian?
I definitely think that it plays a part. I don't think that a coach should draft a player or take a player because of their combine numbers, because obviously at the end of the day they have to play with the team and with other people, and so you have to see how they adjust in those situations. But I think that the combine is a great way to highlight specific skills of a player that maybe you can't see all the time in their sport.
Hey Nick, what do you think? Because you're an NFL guy a bit, so what do you think about that? Those draft combines?
Yeah, personally, for a long time growing up, I had an issue with the combine, so if you will, in terms of just some of the things they put on, like some of the tests that they will do, like the bench press. I was always confused by that, because in no circumstance are you going to just be on your back in the NFL game and have to press somebody off of you. And, another thing that I was like kind of confused about was, if they're so keen on this guy's 40-yard time, why isn't he running this 40-yard time in pads? Or like that time that you're getting in that set, that straightaway takeoff, that's not game speed. That's not anything like that. So I had a lot of quarrels about the combine for a long time, but I think it's like Dorian said, this is an opportunity for these young athletes to go ahead and showcase the skills that they're best at. I know, there's different tests for different positions at the combine. So, a lot of people do either a 5-cone drill, an L drill, a 3-cone drill, a shuttle. So it's much more expanded than what I feel like it was originally, because, you hear stories of guys back in the 90s or the early 2000s. The only thing that was really mentioned was, how much did you bench? What was your 40 time? You might have got asked, what was your 3-cone drill or something like that. But I think that the testing now has become much more enhanced, if you will, and much more comprehensive. So I believe that the combine now tells us things that it historically would not have.
All right, I need one. That was a long bullet, Nick. That was a really long bullet.
Sorry,
I need one answer now.
I had to.
Okay, okay, one answer, one name. Okay, Dorian, who's the best basketball player, skills-wise, right now, that's playing right now, basketball on the planet?
Chris Paul for me. The point guard.
All right. Wow.
That's a great choice.
All right, cool.
That's a great choice.
Nick. Wow. Nick.
Oh man. The most skilled?
Next episode. Yeah, most skilled basketball player.
I'll say oh man. Okay, yeah. I'll just go with the easy. I'll go with the easy takeaway. I'll say LeBron James.
Okay, we'll talk about that on next episode too. Big time. Okay, and I love
make sure on the next show you define what skills are. Everything encompassed in skills, because that's going to be my main argument right there.
But the thing about that is everybody's definition of skills is different. Because I have this argument. Yeah, I have this argument all the time.
All right, that's a last bullet. Okay, this one is like a burning bullet, like on my pure finish. All right, and it's for you a bit, like Dorian. Okay, because I know the WNBA draft is coming. You're a WNBA agent. Okay, so let's get it on right now. Okay, should we actually have a draft, or just that players choose their team?
There needs to be a draft, because when you start allowing people to try and make decisions and stuff, it'll be for the wrong reasons, and it could start getting too messy. I think that they should definitely have an opinion about it and be able to have a say so in it, but I don't think that it should just fully be on the player.
Okay, we'll talk about that. I say this a hot bullet because I'm preparing also like that episode 3 about like with the bullets. So I don't want to talk too much about it. What about you, Nick? Do you feel that a player should be able to just be a free agent just from the get go, no draft?
No, I don't really like it. Personally, I think to keep things, fair, if you will, I like the structure that the draft has now, especially across sports. When you look at like the NFL, there's ways to circumvent being drafted to specific teams. So I think if that's really what you want to end up doing, then there's already back roads and back channels that you have that ability to do. So I don't think it needs to be changed. I think that it definitely needs to be there to start with. So
let me like introduce you to our next chapter like next week. Okay, what is like Trevor Lawrence? You all know Trevor Lawrence. He's gonna be like probably draft number 1. So what if there's no draft? Okay, does this guy like he has to go to a place where there's no real QB? So you're probably gonna end up at the same place, or you're just gonna decide at like this exact thing. Like you're not gonna be like going to a place where there's actually I don't know, like Dak Prescott. Like he's not gonna go like, oh, I'm gonna sign with Dallas. So you're probably gonna have this kind of the same thing happening, but just with a player that say, hey, I want to go to this place. Why should like they decide? Why should I decide? So that's just the take. So do you have like a pure finish for me? Do you have a bullet for me? Because I don't want to discuss this anymore. This is going to be for our next episode. That's going to be for our next episode. Do you have a bullet for me today or for a pure finish, or are we just done?
NCAA men or women's tournament?
Women, 100%. Like this year, 100. I was tweeting about like Ari McDonald. Like the only thing that was great, obviously, was that Gonzaga shot that was monstrous. But like, if you watch the quality of the game, women basketball was like crazy this year, and that was not just this year. I don't know what's the name of the girl that used to play at Notre Dame, like that little girl, like a guard. What's her name? Enrique. Oh, she was off the hook back in the days, and from that moment that I watched the woman more than the man, and I still do this year. We were like doing nachos at the home for the women games all the time. And Ari McDonald, I'm trying to get her on my squad for Pure Instinct in the off season. That's for sure. That's the girl I want to represent my brand actually. All right, Nick, got a question?
Yeah, I got a question for you. All right. Give me the top 3 players in the NBA in 5 years.
In 5 years? Luka, Giannis, Dame Lillard. Is that good?
Dorian? Dorian, who you got?
That's not... Oh.
I got Trae Young.
Trae Young? Whoa!
Sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I got
unlimited range. Okay.
Dang, who else? I got Trae Young. I'm gonna go with this one. This one might come back and get me, but James Wiseman, and then definitely Luke, and then definitely Luka.
Yeah, Luka is special. I agree with you, Dom.
Yeah.
I love Luka, man.
I don't know if I can.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I don't know if I can go with you, Dom, on the Giannis and the Dame take. Both of those guys are close to their 30s. I think Dame is 30, so I don't know if he's got that LeBron run in him. But
yeah, Giannis definitely. He's a great player. Not in 5 years. He's passed up. He's gonna get way passed up by a lot of people.
He's not past his prime, right? Oh man,
he's in his prime right now.
He's in his prime. Yeah, he is.
He's in his prime,
he
and
is.
he still doesn't have a jumper.
He's still clowning. All right, we gotta stop on that one. I love it. All right, let's bring it on like next week. Stay tuned, and we're gonna air that on Sunday. See you guys. Hey, thanks for listening. So now, if you want to react to everything that we just said on the show, just send up a yak. We had the link below. Okay, you just press on that, and if you're really good at it, if you have something really cool to say, we're gonna put you in our next episode, and then we're gonna send you some gear or anything just to thank you for being part of the show. And don't forget to subscribe to our IG page, so Change the Rule Podcast page, and also our YouTube page on Pure Instinct. So don't forget to go there. Every link, the yak link, everything is going to be there.